personal situations do tie into what we like to talk about when it comes to politics.
Okay.
Especially for my belief. Like, I always talk about how if you want to make a difference, you make a difference in your personal life and your community. Instead of, trying to... Like, instead of just criticizing a president, which, very easy to do. Very easy to criticize our president.
Yeah, because he's... Okay, go ahead.
But is that productive? To an extent, I think if you
not just to criticize, but if there's a purpose to it. Like, it's not... Yeah, no, I agree. You shouldn't just criticize for the sake of criticizing.
Well, no, there's very valid
critique.
Thank you. Very valid critique. Warranted. But is that going to, like, if we go on a podcast and we talk about how much Trump is destroying this country, dividing this country, doing things that are borderline authoritarian, taking free speech away, yada, 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 does that make a difference? Or is it, if we talk on our podcast about how we have to individually become better, hold ourselves accountable, hold our culture accountable, create a better culture, is that going to make more of a difference?
So here's where I look at the camera and go, he didn't watch the last episode.
No, I didn't. I didn't even watch the first episode.
That was him. No, so the last time when I was talking to your sister and Alicia...
Mary told me a little bit about it.
So basically what we spoke about, it, like, I just kept asking a specific question of, like, what has to be true for things to be the way they are? That was my main question. And I was trying to dig out some stuff, and I'll probably bring that up later. But Alicia's main tenet, and has been for a while, is everybody's got to do the inner work. Meaning we've got to look at who we are, what we stand for, and that's why I think most humans, most people in our country will look at this and they are falling into one of two camps. Either they're saying, yeah, it's not good, or they're going, I support it. Yeah, it's got some iffy, but I support it.
I disagree.
I think those are the two main camps. You think there's more than... You don't think that's the two main camps?
I think those are the two main camps that we see online. But then when you go into, like, the real world, people have their views, but they don't really let it affect their lives as much as we think it does. Like, working in a restaurant, like, we're never really talking, like, we're trying to figure out what we're going to eat tomorrow. We're talking about what we did over the weekend. There's so many, like, positive interactions, and yet we only highlight the negative. And then it makes it seem like we're a lot more divided than we are because very loud people are talking in very divisive manners.
I hear what you're saying, and this was part of something we spoke about in the last episode too, which was, is it a function of putting our heads in the sand? And there's a contingency, there's a big group of people who just go, I don't talk politics. But there's also a contingency of people who are like, I get it, but it's not that bad. I think that's what you're referencing is you think that it's there, it's just not that bad. But my argument is, and I think this was the argument of the entire last episode, which was for those that haven't been involved and those that have stuck their head in the sand and those that think it's not that bad, we're now seeing that we're in the middle. We're in day 2 of a shutdown right now. Like, we're literally, the government shut down, and it's not affecting us, but how big does our bubble go? Meaning there are federal workers, there's other governmental employees that are really on the line. Their income is over. They are being threatened with losing their job I don't know if you've heard, but the administration said, yeah, we're going to go to a shutdown. And because the Democrats want to give health care to 15 million illegal aliens. That's not at all what's true. They're literally lying through their teeth.
I saw a little bit of the bill.
Hold on, let me finish. So that's what they're claiming, and the bill will literally say, on the website for Medicare and Medicaid, it says illegal, if you're not legally here, you can't get those benefits. Legal residents can, and that's where that number came from, but they're manipulating the media to make it seem like the Democrats want something, they want to give money to illegal. It's not at all a good faith. Hold on, let me make this argument. It's not a good faith argument. So what's happening is there are people in those concentric circles from us that are getting harmed by us going, I don't really pay attention.
I'm not saying don't pay attention. I'm just saying the best way to make a difference would be to hold yourself accountable, hold the people you love accountable, do what you think is best, do your research, vote, sure, but promote a better culture. And like, it would have to be nationwide. Everybody would have to be on the same, like, I think a lot of people,
How do you enforce that?
You spread the message. You got a podcast, you talk about it.
That's exactly the point. So that's the fine line.
But I think instead of
But that's where
talking
critiquing
about,
starts from. So the first word was critique.
Yes,
okay,
but
ahead.
I think instead of talking about maybe, and I get why you should talk about it, of they're shutting the government down. The Republicans want to like up healthcare by a healthy percentage.
No, they're reducing money to healthcare.
Right, they're making it more expensive.
Yeah, they're taking away the subsidies for the ACA. Yes.
Right. I'm not like fully involved, but
your argument right now is that you should be.
Right, but you should just focus on promoting a better culture. Because like, we don't really have any control. It's out of our hands right now. Whatever happens next. We voted, this is what happened. People will come to the right solutions if they're doing the better things in their lives. Like, nobody who is working on themselves, trying to hold themselves accountable and hold the people they love accountable, bettering themselves, bettering their community, nobody's like, they're going to understand, okay.
It'll wash out. It'll figure out in the wash.
Yes. But talking about the big problems, when they stem from these tiny problems, it's just not productive.
I would agree with you, except for one fact. That assumes all players are acting in good faith. Would you agree with that sentiment? If all players are acting in good faith, we're going to have disagreement.
Issue. That's the issue.
There are some players that are not acting.
A lot of people act in bad faith in a civilization way, not even like the big politicians. Most politicians are not acting in good faith. But most people, like you and I, are not acting in good faith, not because we're consciously aware of it.
Whoa. I disagree.
Because we're all relatively hypocritical, and I cannot imagine how many people probably voted uneducated just out of spite for either another side or another person that they don't like. Oh, I don't like that person, they're Democrat, so I'm going to vote Republican. I don't like that person, they're Republican, I'm going to vote Democrat. Like,
you're talking about so many depth of knowledge then.
Depth of knowledge and like this underlying, like, not, I don't want to say hatred, but this underlying just, everybody wants to say they have good intentions, but most people don't. I don't.
So we're talking about morality and ethics right now. So
and I think that's why we are where we are, because we don't talk about that enough.
Right, and so let's talk about it. Like, let's solve the world by talking about morality and ethics. Like, morality and ethics are a critical element, and
it should be everything.
It should be. So what typically defines? I mean, let me rephrase. Not typically. In one approach to morality and ethics is integrity of discussion, integrity of argument. It's agreeing to a set of rules and being intellectually consistent, meaning avoiding hypocrisy. Like, that's a typical...
I think the biggest thing would be avoiding her. That's probably the biggest
thing.
Well,
it's kind of all of those. You have to be intellectually consistent. You have to work from good faith. You have to care about what you're... Like, when you go into a high school debate, or even beyond, like Toastmasters, whatever, you go and do a debate, like an official debate, the actual process of doing debate is there's an argument, there's a situation, and then there's two sides, and you should be able to intellectually take either side of that debate. You get your 5 minutes, you study it, you argue for your side. That's what debate, those who have taken debate in high school, that's what it was. You didn't pick your side, you were given a side, and you had to debate from your side because the understanding was you're going to make a good faith argument, which is why they disallowed the ad hominems, the personal attacks.
Do you think it'd be beneficial if we added in debates, like political debates, we force the opponents to...
Ooh, what?
I kind of blanked, but we force the opponents to argue for the other side. it would honestly end up being very like such a condescending argument. It would probably end up being unproductive because most people
If you're
are just
intellectually dishonest, it's
Yes,
going to fall
right.
apart.
And everybody's going to be dishonest because they're going to worry and be like, this is gonna fuck with my votes if I prove myself wrong.
I don't.
But
I disagree with you. You said all. I don't think everybody is intellectually dishonest that's in the government now.
95%.
Again, I think we said this last time. I think the Marjorie Taylor Greens and some of the really extreme right wing, which I call wackos, but I
don't
think they're
dishonest.
I don't. Right. I think they believe what they're saying. I just think they're intellectually subdued. Hold on. I think they're intellectually subdued. Then I think there's the people on the far left, which are literally so liberal, they care about humanity more than they care about themselves. And I think that, like the Bernie Sanders, the AOCs, I think those two groups are the only true ones. Everybody else, and I think this is your argument, that's the bulk of the bell curve of politicians.
So we should go farther extreme?
No, I think we should. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that those are the people that I believe are telling the truth. Because everybody else inside that's taken money from PACs, taken money from Israel, and will...
Bernie Sanders is definitely taking money from Israel.
Absolutely not.
Can we fact check that?
I will fact 100%. I will put the fact check right here.
I know AOC doesn't take any money.
Correct.
They're
all grassroots. That's what Mamdani is doing in New York, and that's why they all hate him, is because there's no special interest groups. When the people love an individual...
Oh yeah, they're attacking the shit out of Mamdani.
They're attacking the shit out of him because he is representing what our country was founded on, is the people represented by an individual that believe in them, and the fucking powers that be can't stand that because they don't have any levers to pull because the people said, this is what we want.
And I'm sure I don't agree with Mamdani on plenty of things, but if we had more leaders who disagreed, or like, I wish we had more leaders that I disagreed with, but at least they were honest. You know what I mean? Like, if at least like
those extremes, they were wider.
I would have no problem with the government, and then if we could talk politics, I would love to talk politics more if money wasn't allowed in politics. Then it's like, okay, now we can actually talk politics.
We can debate policy.
Right, but we can't really do that right now.
Well, no, we can, but it's just
out of our control. It's too much out of our control considering that there's so much money in politics. A certain PAC has a lot of money. I'm not saying who it is.
A PAC?
It's
PAC.
Certainly a PAC. I don't know what PAC it is.
It's a PAC. I'll put it right here.
Oh, you were talking about American Israel.
Oh, what?
Oh, I was just saying like a PAC, like a space PAC. I wasn't saying.
Ann PAC, not.
It was Ann PAC.
Who the hell's Ann? Pick a lane. Who's
Anne
Elaine?
Frank. Anne Frank.
Is she hiding? Is she here? That's Monkey. That's different. Yeah, if money gets out of politics, and that's what
then we can talk about it. But like, we have to understand that our government is so corrupt at this point. What is the point of sitting here and being like, "Oh, Trump is this or AOC is that"? Like,
the point is to find the people who are not hypocritical, who are intellectually consistent and honest, and make arguments that, when followed through, like we were talking...
Do you think that this is possible?
Yeah, because we were talking before we were rolling about how our next evolution is to look at a situation, game it forward into the future, and then go, is that a lesson I need to learn by experiencing it, or can I learn that lesson just by playing it in my mind? And then you make your decision about what to do.
And we were talking individually.
We were talking individually.
Ourselves.
Right, but it's the same thing here. Is we look at somebody and go, have they been intellectually honest? Is this politician, like AOC doesn't take corporate...
There's also so much misinformation that it's hard to actually like find that.
I disagree. I think
to the average person who's not going to dive deep into it, there's too much information for them to get an actual...
And now you've got to the crux of what's wrong with politics. It's not just money. The reason money runs
money
politics.
and propaganda.
Well, what does the money do in politics? They make so many billions of dollars in campaign income, and what do they do with it? They buy advertising. Do you know that public relations, why it's called public relations?
No.
Because when they realized that the tool they were using was manipulation of individual psyches through media. And that was, in wartime, they call it propaganda. But what happened, like, so they would drop leaflets over other countries, and apparently in Vietnam they would drop like massive, like triple XL condoms just to make over the Viet Cong, to make them feel inferior. Like, they would do all sorts of like psyops, and that was propaganda.
And then they realized that they could do it to their own people to gain power.
And so they couldn't call it propaganda. They changed it to, what did I just call it? Yeah, public relations. That's the exact same thing. Like,
Well,
if you want to,
it's the exact same thing.
if you want to buy ads, you go to a public relations firm. Like, that's what I've used PR firms for my magic. Like, I'm not saying that it's inherently evil. I'm just saying it works. If you need to convey something, hold on, let me get this part out. If you need to convey something to somebody so that you get something from them, you have to convince them of that by repetition, which is why right now in the social media space, kids are harming themselves and they're so solo and they're so isolated. It's all this information is coming at them, and they're taking that and it becomes part of who they are. It's hypnosis, it's influence, back to Cialdini. Like, this is how it happens. And so, to your point, how do we fight against it? Well, we have to find people who are honest, whose goal and mission, whose bubble incorporates something that we believe in.
I don't think most people even like care about honesty at this point, because they're not on it, because they're not honest with themselves. They're hypocritical to themselves.
I think they care about it. I just think they
Care
aren't.
about what?
I think they care about honesty, but I disagree with your first point, but I disagree with your second. I think they care about it, but I think you're right that they're not honest with themselves.
So then, like, if I'm not honest with myself, then I can almost relate to a Trump who's not honest.
Just because you can relate doesn't mean it's right.
I'm not saying it's right, but
So
people
what does it matter if you relate to it then? What's the argument?
people aren't right in their own lives. Most people are very dishonest with themselves. I'm going to do this. They don't do that. I'm guilty of that. You're probably guilty of that. Most people are guilty of that.
I'm a fucking saint. My son rolls his eyes.
But if we're not honest with ourselves, and this is why I talk about the individuality of it, is if we're not honest with ourselves, then we're not going to pick honest leaders.
Are you saying that our leaders are representative of the population because we're not honest with ourselves, so why would they be honest with themselves?
I think that we are exactly where we put ourselves.
Of course we are where we put ourselves.
Because of the fact that we do not hold our own selves accountable for our own mistakes. We are hypocritical. We are dishonest with ourselves. We're dishonest to others. So it's no shock that if you have a society of that, if you have a society of kind of just doing what you want, don't really have any regard for consequences. Like, if I can shortcut this and I can shortcut that.
I can cheat on my taxes, I can speed when the cop's not there, and I can cheat on my wife, and I can do that. Like, if I can get away with that stuff,
then...
And there's no consequences. Yeah, we talked about this last time. If there's no consequences, you're right. However, I think the difference is, in America, the fundamental right, the thing that this is all based on, is the freedom to do whatever you want.
Right.
But
and
hold on.
People are allowed to do that.
But it's being accelerated because others can then steal via power and money, because if they get into government, they can change the laws, lie to us. That accelerates the deception.
If you manipulate yourself, then anybody can manipulate you. And I think people manipulate themselves to justify their actions. Whether it's tiny things, tiny details of like, I got a cup of water, but I put soda in it. Oh, but like, it's $1 billion corporation. Like, what does it matter? Do I do that? Yeah, I do that. But
Shocked.
like, the little things like that, if you don't, a small habit like that can turn into bigger habits if you're not very conscious of it. And this is a societal problem. This is where we have an issue.
If you don't put your cart back when you go to the grocery store, you're the problem.
Like, you
That's what you're
manipulate
saying.
yourself and you're thinking, it's not a big deal. And it isn't a big deal to take small shortcuts, but those small shortcuts add up, and then you just end up being a dishonest person. And then you kind of lose a sense of what actual reality is because you've made up this own reality in your head to a certain extent of, I can do this without really facing any consequences, but those details just add up and add up and add up, and all of a sudden you're not in touch with the reality. So then Trump comes in, very charismatic guy. People will sit there and be like, he might be cool, or J.D. Vance, or
Well, here's
all
the question
these,
I have, though.
I'm sure there are also a bunch of corrupt liberals too. Trump and Vance are, under the microscope right now.
They're not the only ones. But here's the question. So back to the original point of ethics and morals is who gets to determine, and I mean, I'll just call it out. That's what they're trying to say is we need to get back to good moral standards, said the 3-time married, multiple wife cheating, pregnant while their wife, like, who gets to determine what's morally right? What's the moral standard?
Do you have to?
I don't have to put my cart back. I do it because I have pushed carts. Because I have pushed carts on the hottest day in recorded history in Arizona, back when it was 122 degrees. I've pushed carts in that. So when people put their carts back, I appreciate that.
We have to discern that for ourselves. And then.
But if we do that for ourselves, and I'm glad you said that, that was the trap I was setting, then what does it matter what somebody else does?
What do you mean? Who?
If I have to determine for myself whether or not I put the cart back.
But are you being intellectually honest? Like, people are going to hear this and think, well, I'm good, but are you really? Like, you have to be very intellectually honest with yourself and understand, like if you're not nitpicking at the small things that you might shortcut or the things that you aren't doing to the best of your ability. And I was having this conversation at work. Like, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Typically, yeah.
And so would you say that everybody does everything the right way? I know I don't.
No, that's an absurd position to take. We're humans and
Right.
we're fallible.
Right, but if you can maintain that if you can keep that conscious in your mind, that'll go a long way. Yes, like you're going to
Sure.
sit here and say like who gets to decide how this and that goes. You get to decide that for yourself, and then we as a community can come together and then talk about it. But we have to be, and you made this point, we have to be intellectually honest with it. The same way Mamdani is probably intellectually honest. Same way Marjorie Taylor Greene is intellectually honest. Just because they might be crazy in their own ways, that's fine. But now we can come together because we both have the right intentions within ourselves to then talk about what's next for the country.
Okay,
But
so
we're not doing that enough as people to sit here and blame the politicians that we put into power. We have to take responsibility for that.
I think that I would disagree in part only at, you say we put them in power. I think they put themselves in power because we weren't savvy enough to recognize the tools of propaganda they use to convince us otherwise. We have to be smarter.
Yeah. How do you get smarter? By doing the work.
YouTube. No.
By focusing on how do I get better? Because if you're thinking about how do I get better,
yeah,
you're going to gain some intelligence.
But now we come back to get better at what? How do I get better at obtaining power and money?
Every aspect of life. Every aspect of life.
But hold on. How do I get better? Like, you're saying better at life, but these people don't give a fuck about
Who's these people? I'm not talking about the politicians. The politicians, they are the most dishonest people. I'm not talking about them. We put them in power. We fucked up. We have to bring it back to us.
All right. So let me bring it back to us. I hear what you're saying. Fair enough. I'll accept that and I'll take it in this direction. There's a question I wanted to ask, and I wasn't sure how to ask it, but I think it's a little more clear now. Let's make some assumptions. Let's assume that with I believe the congresswoman from Arizona that just won her father's seat is going to make vote 218, and as soon as Mike Johnson swears her in, she's going to sign to force the vote to release the Epstein files. Here's the question I have. All these people who were Trump supporting, right-sided, often MAGA wearing hats, and I'm not calling them names, I'm just saying that contingent of Republicans, all of those people that are like, hey man, you said you ran on release the files. When they come out and it shows that Trump and Musk, and even it's already come out that Trump and Musk.
Real quick, have you seen that picture of Trump like in a dress laying on a bed?
You mean Vance?
No, it was Trump.
Oh.
And like it was hanging in Epstein's house. That was it could have been misinformation, but
No, I didn't see that. But my point is, here's my this is an important one. When it comes out, and I don't think, it's entirely obvious that this is a cover-up. It's probably exponentially deeper than we've ever considered because of Epstein's connection to Mossad and everything else that we know. It probably is the fundamental corruption of the United States.
Ghislaine Maxwell's dad.
Yeah, like it goes so fucking deep. Like the more you look at this, it's like incredible how deep it goes. But when it comes out that our leaders are the pedophile ring that they were swearing against and used to get elected, what does that group do? What are those MAGA hat wearings? What is your grandfather, who has several of those hats, who says, "Oh no, pedophilia is wrong"?
I mean,
what do they do?
It'll be, if those files come out, it'll be really good for the country.
Will it?
I think so.
But I think that's a shallow. That's a really quick and shallow answer.
I've thought about it. Are there going to be people that are going to say it's a facade, or I don't care, I'm still rocking with Trump? Sure, but for the most part, people will be like, oh fuck, that's not good at all. We really fucked up. And I think a lot of people woke up when they were doing everything they could. That one press conference when somebody asked Trump about it, and he was like, why are we still talking about this guy? Why are we still talking about this weird guy? That was definitely I think a lot of heads turned of oh, I think this administration will either be one of the best things to happen in America or it'll be the end of America. So I get your point, your perspective of will it be good or will it just kind of keep going?
I'm not asking if it will be good. That's not my point. That's not what I'm driving at. I'm asking for those, if there's no Republicans watching and you're just a libtard like me, rock on, but share this with somebody and ask this question. If it comes out that Trump is literally in cahoots with this massive pedophilia ring for the powers that be, and they probably use it at such a depth of power and coercion and geopolitical
I wonder why he kissed the wall.
What?
I wonder why he kissed the wall.
Kissed the wall?
Trump?
I don't know what you're saying.
You know the wall in Israel that you kiss?
Oh. I wonder why. But I want this question to come out. What do they do? Are they gonna if you're a ride or die red hatter? So he fucked a few kids. That is gonna come out of some people's mouths.
Yeah.
That disturbs the living shit out of me.
It's very disturbing. It's very disturbing that most people probably know, oh fuck, Trump probably did fuck kids.
But here's the point. It's being so covered up that it's obvious that it's either that or something deeper.
I think it's also going in their favor that there's so much attention on it that they're desensitizing it before it comes out. Does that make sense?
Of course. That's what they're delaying so that they can manipulate the files.
They're delaying while they're also, they're probably glad so much attention is on it, because the more somebody sees something, even if it's fucking disturbing, it gets a little less disturbing every time you see it. And you just become a little bit more desensitized. Well, if a cop sees a murder every single
it's nothing.
All of a sudden, 3, 4, 5 years, which no cop sees a murder every single day, but a 20-year vet cop, they see a murder, oh man, that's brutal. Lunch?
What's for dinner? Yeah.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think real humans that affect.
Yes, but no. I think real humans are so prone to desensitization.
It's not desensitization.
I think for me personally, if it comes out and he's on the files, which is he on the files?
He is.
Probably.
There's Pam Bondi said he is. Totally was in April. He is. There's no doubt about it.
Right. Okay.
But I'm just no, that's my point.
I'm not saying he's not. My point is, unfortunately, there's really nothing we can do about it now. We kind of just have to let the powers that be do their best to subdue him, and then next election it'd be okay, what are we going to do?
I'm gonna pause. The powers that be are the ones implicated. What we're saying is what your argument right now is let the pedophiles run the country.
You would want him probably impeached?
I would like pedophiles to be removed from society
Me too.
and rehabilitated at a minimum.
Yes, absolutely.
That's at a minimum.
Do you think it's realistic he gets impeached?
No, because he's got both sides he's got all three branches right now.
Right.
So I don't, I mean, he's done so many impeachable
like you
things.
Just have to bite the bullet. Like, I don't want a fucking pedophile as our president, obviously.
The funniest thing about this is, and I think we said this last time, all he has to do is come out and say, oh, I totally partied with Jeffrey. He was my best friend for the longest time. I'm really sad he's gone. Yeah, I got massages and rub and tugs, but they were all 18. I know he liked him younger than that, but I didn't. Anyways, what's for lunch?
Yeah, that would probably...
That would dispel all of this. Everybody would get behind him, and I hope I just saying this, maybe I cut this out, but if he were to say that...
But if you were to say that now, then they'd be like, that's a different angle.
They would still bite. Fish don't care what angle the lure comes from. If it's shiny, they'll bite.
Yeah, I mean, and it's an issue.
So my question stands, which is, it's got to be deeper, because he claims everything else. He says it was a perfect phone call to Ukraine. No, it was extortion. It was quid pro quo. It was illegal. All these other things he's done, clearly illegal. And all of his supporters and followers are like, but there's something so insidious, so much worse, and I'm not saying that pedophilia is not bad, but I don't think it's the game. That is not the game breaker that I think everybody thinks it is.
I think I agree. Unfortunately,
That's
why I said it could either go really good for the country, and people go, get him out of office right now, or it's like a.
But what would they get him out for? On what? What would they get him out for? Being a creep? He's admitted to grabbing him by the pussy, walking in on naked underage girls as his contestants. He's already admitted to doing these things. They still support him. What would fucking a few extra kids do? Like, why? What's the level? It's got to be something else. That's my... I just get so frustrated.
Like the line has to be something else? I mean, I get it. It's frustrating.
No, I mean, there's got... The cover-up has to be covering up something significantly
worse than pedophilia?
That's what I would... That's what my...
What is worse than pedophilia? I think this is an intelligence operation gone absolutely fucking wrong.
I think government-sponsored pedophilia is worse than pedophilia.
Yes, but once again, I think this is an intelligence operation gone absolutely wrong.
You think it's gone wrong, or do you think it's gone absolutely right?
I mean, I brought this point up to you. I was like, it's weird how...
Why do my kids keep doing that? Go on. What was the point you brought up to me?
Like, a couple months ago now, but I was like, it's weird how they're letting all this come to light. I think we were talking about Palestine. I was like, there might be something underlying, like they're covering something else up.
And your argument was, no, they're letting it out on purpose. They're desensitizing. Maybe your current argument.
Yes. So I guess the only thing that could be worse than, what would you say, government pedophilia?
Government-sponsored pedophilia.
Would be a globalization, like a mass power takeover.
Oh yeah, but see, that's it.
That's the only way, because then if they just have to cover that up long enough, it doesn't really matter what else comes out, as long as they know they can stay in power long enough to get to this mass power of I control everything, you have no rights, you have no freedom. Is it possible? Yes. Do I try not to think about it? Also, yes.
But to your point before is we have to think about it. We have to go.
You have to be.
There's no limit to I've got a pretty hard line at pedophilia. Sorry, it's a hard line. Just there's nothing on that side that I'm okay with. You have to be on this side of that line. Right? You agree?
Yeah. What's your point?
My point is that my point is pretty simple. He's in the files. He supported it. They all knew about it. He denied the.
Where are you going? We've talked about this. Yes.
But where you were just going was we as individuals have to draw that line. How do we talk to people about how flexible their pedophilia line is? We're all that's the point is anybody who is not 100% outraged is flexible on pedophilia. That's
I'm gonna
why I
be honest
like
with you,
Marjorie Taylor Greene's stance. At least she's intellectually honest.
Right, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I'm not talking to those people when I'm talking. You know what I mean? Like when I'm talking on this podcast, I'm not talking to the ones that are gonna support Trump when he comes out and he's a pedophile. They're so far gone. Like that's God. That's God's situation handle. I'm out of that. I'm talking to the people who aren't on the side of pedophilia and understand that's wrong, but then they still get caught up in these they get caught up in the propaganda and everything. That's like when I was talking about we had to promote a better culture. I'm talking to those people. You can't promote a better culture to a pedophile. You know what I mean? Like,
sadly, no. I don't know how to have that.
We have to come together, and the ones that understand that like wrong is like certain people have different definitions of wrong and right, but there are certain things, murder,
certain lines.
Rape. I don't think you can even say that on YouTube, can you?
What, murder and rape?
Rape.
I don't know. I'm gonna find out today.
Yeah,
gonna learn today.
Like, there are certain things that are like obviously wrong, and when we're talking to like sane people,
but it's not obviously wrong.
Like when we're talking about like sane people who have their head on straight, but they take the little shortcuts in life. Like that's who I'm talking to. The ones that they're trying to find the way, and then they might end up being a little bit more of a scumbag than they thought they were gonna be, because they just kept taking these little shortcuts, and all of a sudden they're sitting there, how did this happen to me? And then they have a victim mentality of, I did nothing wrong. Like I had such good intentions.
I'm a good guy.
All the way through. I'm talking to those people and telling them, you need to be better. You need to be more honest with yourself. That is what's going to drive us. Because most people are like that. Most people are not going to accept, 95% of the country is not going to accept the fact that our president is a pedophile. We will vote him out.
What percentage did you say?
95.
Wait, 95% of the population won't accept that won't accept him if it comes out he's a pedophile?
Yes.
Okay, that's different than what I heard. All right, good.
Maybe I misworded it. That's what I meant to say. We have to talk to those people. We don't have, like...
That 5% is lost.
We need to stop worrying about the people that are so far gone. You got to let God do his thing with those people. You just got to pray for him. When we're talking about a certain individual, I can't really do much. I just got to pray for him, hope they figure it out.
Yeah, but...
The more energy we spend on those people, the longer we are going to be in this predicament as a country. We have to start focusing on the people who want to do better and be better, and that's most people. They might not know how. They might not understand that little things add up, but we need to communicate that to them, and then they will become more intellectual. I need to become more intellectual. You need to become more intellectual. He's not that smart. And then that way we'll be able to come together as a country way better than just screaming at people who are supporting pedophilia. Why are we screaming at people who support pedophilia?
Because they run our fucking government.
And we fucked up.
Right, but how do we get out of it? You think by talking to average Joe...
Yes.
Okay, so to your point, that's why I ask that question of, is it possible that it is as simple as he likes them young and he went to the island and he never thought it would catch up to him? Is it as simple as that? Because if it was...
You think there's more underlying
I
shit?
think there is something so much worse, so much more insidious.
Do you think it was the mass power that I was talking about?
Do I think it was what?
Like what I was talking about, the mass power, like becoming an authoritarian figure? Do you have any ideas of what it is, or are you just saying there's
Yeah, no, I have an idea, but
okay, what's the idea?
It's going to sound batshit crazy.
Okay. Well,
here we are.
Let's go.
I literally think that let me rephrase that. I think it's entirely possible that the reason the Epstein files are not coming out is because those that got into power, including Trump, Patel, and several others at that level, who
Patel
now
is a complete failure. By the
What's
way.
that?
Cash Patel is a complete failure.
Let me stay on topic.
Sorry.
We'll come back to that for sure. Yeah, he's a huge failure because he was a podcaster who screamed, release the files, with a little cross-eyed bullshit. And now that he's in there, he's saying, I have no credible evidence. You have the fucking files. You have all of the evidence.
Don't give us the evidence, just give us the files. Okay, you don't have evidence? Just give us everything you have.
So let me get to my point. My point is that for him to take such a one, like if you go
for all of them to take such a 180.
If you say I support Israel and Palestinians are supported by Hamas and they can go fuck themselves, I can see that stance if you're that fucking ignorant. When you find out that Netanyahu was literally funneling money to Hamas to keep that up so that he could constantly have a war, you start to question things and you go, oh, there's reasonable doubt that he's a good player. Oh, you hear him.
October 7th through October 8th, the soldiers were ordered to stand down.
Oh, I didn't hear that part. I've heard rumors about that, but I don't have any credible evidence. Yeah, it's like another 9/11. They needed to fabricate a 9/11, an attack on their own.
And I do remember saying the day it came out, the day it happened, I was saying it's a false flag.
Of course it is.
Nobody wanted to talk about it.
Well, why would they? You couldn't back then. You couldn't say shit about Israel. You would get shut the fuck down. Now, the algorithm or the powers that be, whatever it is, have allowed us to speak to that. But you asked me my opinion. I'm going to go back to the point.
Go ahead.
No, fair. Like, it's all kind of intertwined. Epstein was probably a Mossad agent. He had money at levels that didn't make... He had his own island, and he did not have enough intelligence to have his own island. Like, he wasn't smart at trading. He was supposed to be some kind of broker.
It's not a conspiracy theory that he was a Mossad agent. I'll plainly say that. Like... That's hardly a conspiracy theory if you dig into it.
Okay, but it's layered. He was an agent. He was working, and all these powers that be, like, what I think, and this is where it gets crazy. I'm going to put crazy right up here, just as Tank's batshit crazy. I think they know certain things. They know...
Who's they? Israel?
No? Well, yeah, but I mean, the people that run our government. And I don't mean the politicians, I mean the people that run our government financially.
In the black suits.
The dark underbelly of everything. I think there's a secret cabal. It's like the people who pay the Supreme Court justices with vacations and jets and all this shit and then hide behind freedom of speech bullshit. Like, it's a corrupt system because they know probably that the earth goes through cycles and that global warming is real, and so they deny it so they can stay in power and be as comfortable when the shit hits the fan. I think they know some cataclysmic is coming, and we don't know about it, and they refuse to tell us about it. And so with the proliferation of all our smartphones and everything, information travels really fast, so we're picking up on all these little bits and cues that go, wait, this doesn't make sense, that doesn't make sense, holy shit, what's going on? Now we've got a pedophile ring at the top levels of the American government, being covered up by the top levels of the American government. In what fucking crazy batshit Michael Crichton novel does that happen?
I will say, not even 10 years ago, everybody was like, hey, Mother Earth is in trouble.
Oh, it's been 40 or 50 years. Earth Day started on my birthday.
And then we never hear anything about the climate now. We never hear anything about it. It's just been like completely shut down by just about both sides.
It's only because we know it's fucked. Right now, there's a more pressing thing of like, if we don't change the people that change the rules, then then climate's screwed.
Do you think we're too fucked though? Like, do you think the Earth is too screwed to do anything about it?
Not the Earth. Humans are.
Right. Like the Earth will go back. Like it'll get fucked up, and then we'll die, and then.
So, to add to let me add slap a layer of conspiracy theory onto my wild batshit argument, which is there is so much evidence. I love Joe Rogan for one reason, because he has the conspiracy minded people on, and they produce evidence. And AJ, the guy who does the Y Files, I love him, and he brings out such great receipts and disproves the bullshit. But people like them create all this information that we have to go, wait, there's documentations and provable with current science that says humanity isn't as old as we say. There's Göbekli Tepe, and civilization goes back. I just heard something today that they found some wood structures that were carbon dated back to 400,000 years old that were created in like a tongue and groove way. 400,000 years old. Like, humans weren't using tools for, like, we weren't Homo sapiens back then. So my suggestion is that they know that there's this cycle. Maybe they already have the aliens. The aliens have come down and told, hey, you guys have about 40 fucking years left, so fucking have fun, because then we're going to take over. Or there's a meteor coming and they refuse to let it out. Or something is pending and they're like, we give up. We're done. We're just going to play fuck around.
See, this is content.
I'm glad you feel so.
In this age, I think it's ridiculous to, like, if you think about it, we have a president who's a pedophile. It's a blanket statement, but he's almost certainly, like, that could, I don't want that to bite me in the ass, but almost certainly he's in the files.
No, he's almost certainly a pedophile. He's definitely in the files. They've admitted it.
Sure, there's a transcript.
Let's use our words properly.
The way that society is right now and how outlandish it is, like, it is such a weird society that we live in and such a fucked up society that we live in. You can't discredit that theory. You can't sit there and be like, that's not true.
Which one? The aliens and the
whatever, like,
coming ice age, and like they just know
whatever the specifics are, that there's something apocalyptic coming, and they're just doing everything they can to, you know, stay in power, get their money, and go in their bunkers.
But that's the question I have. Okay, let's assume my batshit theory is crazy. I'm sorry, my batshit crazy theory is right. To your point, they're just trying to collect enough money. What does them going into bunkers do? Do they think that, like...
That's like, well, that's the human survival aspect of it. Like, I agree. Like, what is that going to do?
I want to know what's next. Like, I do not have a death wish, and I will never kill myself on record. But I am completely content. I mean, and this comes from my ayahuasca experience. I'm eager to see what comes next. I've talked to God. She's cool. When it's my time, it's my time.
We have different theories about who God is.
We both talk to our own God. We both, I would imagine we agree it's the one and the same. We just have different dialects, you and I. Look, I was talking to Alicia the other day.
I don't know. I don't believe that if you have a relationship with God, I think we're too human to understand or really, like...
It's too complex.
We can't comprehend what God actually is.
True.
So I don't, like... If you're talking to God, I'm talking to God. Even if you have a different comprehension of what it is in your brain, I'm just glad you're having a relationship with God.
Me too.
That's necessary, especially in this day and age. Like, the world is very fucked up.
I don't think it's necessary. I will disagree with that.
Completely necessary to have a relationship with God.
I don't think it's necessary.
It's completely necessary.
I think it's a good idea, but I don't think it's necessary.
Well, you're right. It's not necessary because God gives us free will. But, but it's about as necessary as it gets if you, like...
But, so I know why you're resisting. You think it's what's going to save us. But that's the point is, what if these people know the truth about God? What if they go, the glaciers come, the ice age comes, the younger, driest floods wipe us out, and then we have this protocol that... we need to have bunkers so that we can survive, so that then we can repopulate and do it all over again.
Do you think God supports pedophiles? Do you think that, like, they're walking in God's pathway?
I think that God doesn't give a fuck which team wins on Sunday. So when the player goes, I'm just grateful, and I'm stealing this straight from some comedian. I don't remember who it was, but it was like, I was grateful that God allowed me to catch that catch in the fourth quarter. There's nobody that goes, we were winning until God made me fumble. Like, I don't think God gives a shit at that level.
I think there's absolutely justice in your actions.
My spiritual experience tells me that it's not about justice. I think that's a human concept on this earth, right and wrong.
So you think that...
Well, hold on. Let me tell you what I think. You can speculate. I'm right here. Why don't you let me finish?
No, it's annoying when that happens to you, isn't it?
Totally.
Yeah, go on.
I'll do an analysis of who spoke more on this. We'll get to that.
Oh, it'll be you. 100%.
We'll see. I think that the idea of God caring what we do is a human attribute to something that's incomprehensible. Like your point, it's incomprehensible what the notion of God is. Like we are so far removed from it. But my spiritual aspiration is that there is a source. We come from it. We go to it. We're part of it. And whatever the hell that means, I will. When the time comes for me to know, I'll either know, or if it's never meant for me to know, I won't.
Sure.
What can I do about that? I can just do my best to understand what is important to me, to your point. Go within, to Alicia's point. Do the inner work. Be the best I can for what matters to me.
So then, my question is, if you think that there is not a... If you think God doesn't care about what you do, if God is going to accept the worst of the worst people, and
When you say accept, what...
Is that not what you're saying? Do you not believe that there's an acceptance? It's just like a source that you come and go from?
I think it's lessons in merit. So in really simplistic terms, those that, like, let's just take a very specific case. Trump, let's just make some assumptions here. Trump's on the list. Trump visited the island. Trump has pedophilia tendencies by his own admissions. The way I see it is he came here, he was set a task for himself with his people and with his guides in the spirit world and with God or whatever, and he got, because of whatever reason, we know that his childhood was shitty, but he got thrown off track, and this is where it led him. And so when he goes back to Source is going to be like, how'd it go? And he's going to realize, that soul, that spirit, that essence will realize, I made choices that took me down a path that didn't serve my highest self.
What do you think he goes, you believe he reincarnates, tries again?
Yeah, I think he's going to have another opportunity. That soul will either come back in some form. Maybe he'll go to a different system, or maybe he'll go to a different planet, or maybe he'll become a different type of animal, but whatever, or he'll be a tree. So he has to like sit there and contemplate for an eon. Like, I don't know how it works. I've read enough scientific shit, but the idea that if there is a source, like in this, we talked about it this last time, you and I, the reason I don't think that there's a God that's watching over us and managing this planet and the people on it, 2 words, child cancer. If there is somebody that's managing this, fuck them. Like, anybody who would allow child cancer, like, if suffering isn't at the core of it, like, to allow or facilitate suffering at that level.
Do you think it was facilitated, or cancer, for the most part, it's pretty man-made?
True, but not always.
99%.
Oh, what are we, a doctor now?
Cancer's pretty fucking, like, man-made. Cavemen were not getting cancer.
You don't know that. You weren't there.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I will agree, but at what point do kids deserve it? Just because parents fucked up?
No, I'm not.
Oh, now kids, you want kids to have cancer? Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
Sorry, I
fuck
took
the
a
kids.
cheap shot.
That's what I'm saying.
What? Now you're a politician.
Yeah. Well, okay. We gotta put context there. I'm not even gonna say that.
Full circle.
That's what sin is. Child cancer is sin, and it's not the kid's fault.
That's a rough one.
But the decisions that we made, because we have free will, have brought us, I'm sure there was a cancer boom during the Industrial Revolution. Probably. We do things that are...
all sorts of stuff up. But go ahead.
Well, okay, but like...
You mean after it?
Yeah. Like...
When we introduce chemicals...
When we don't follow in God's footsteps, and we think our route's better than God's route, and we sin, and we do this, and we think we're smarter than...
Do you think civilization is sinful?
Yes.
Culture is sinful.
Do you think culture is sinful, or do you think our culture is sinful?
Culture, like the idea...
The idea of culture?
The idea of, I'll simplify it. Modern culture.
Do you think our modern culture right now is sinful? Or
yeah, I'll yeah, sure.
Yes. I think we're all sinful.
But I mean the idea of culture in and of itself. Meaning, So
No.
it's
You're
if
talking
I
about the concept of culture.
Well, here I'm extrapolating your notion to mean the further away from God we get. So we should be at best wearing loincloths in the jungles or in nature, and we shouldn't have houses. We shouldn't be using our apex predator
No,
means.
we should have stopped using. God probably wants us to evolve as a civilization, grow. But when we grow and we use things like asbestos and we realize asbestos is bad, we keep using asbestos. Don't use asbestos. You know what I mean? Like,
Are you talking to Trump again? Because that's what he did.
I'm just talking in general. Industrial revolution. We're fucking up the earth by throwing all these gases out there, everything.
But isn't technology? So you're saying we shouldn't evolve technologically and intellectually and
we should, but then we should stop doing things that are hurting us for convenience.
You know what Terrence says? Terrence McKenna
Hold on.
says.
Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was gonna go to it, but I'm sorry if I interrupted.
But does that, like that's what I mean when you say fuck God because he created cancer. He didn't create cancer. We created cancer through doing the wrong things. If God allows us to mess up, don't eat the berry. Oh, that made me feel like shit. I'm not gonna eat that berry again. Oh, I'm kind of hungry. I'll eat like shit. Or, oh, like dairy affects my stomach, but I really like cheese. I'm gonna eat cheese. Oh God, why are you giving me a stomach ache? That's not fair.
It's the football player on the field, like praising God when he wins and not blaming him when he loses.
You can.
It's the same thing. Like
If anybody praises God only when they win, then they have no concept of any type of religion.
Okay.
No.
But like if your argument is a slippery slope because God facilitated us to make delicious sharp cheddar cheese and glorious nutty bars that we can have as dessert.
And people probably wouldn't be lactose intolerant if that shit didn't become processed and then we evolved into
food
eating
is horrible.
we evolved into eating the wrong things. Like God probably wants us to eat a diet full of just meat, fruit, vegetable, like anything natural. Anything natural. Meat could be a stretch. I have to.
It's a moral conundrum, right? That's why I said it's a slippery slope.
I don't think it is. We keep fucking up as a civilization, and it goes back to the shortcuts that I was talking about earlier. You do a little shortcut there, a little shortcut there, a little sin here, a little sin there. All of a sudden, you get to the gates of heaven, and he's like, look at all these shortcuts. Look at all these sins that you did, and you didn't even think they were bad.
That's the Egyptian way is they weigh your soul against a feather. That's what the hieroglyphics of the Book of the Dead, I'm not sure exactly which source, but they say you go and meet Horus in the afterlife, and they weigh your soul, and if it weighs, the sins add up, and if your soul weighs less than a feather, then you move on. If not...
The great thing about my God is he'll forgive those sins, but you have to have a relationship.
Why? Why do you have to have a relationship? Why can't he just be like, go do your thing, and when you're done, you come back?
Because it's your decision on whether or not... If you don't hear the word of God, I'm sure he does that. If there's some rural jungle in Africa, or... they're pretty dry. No, there's jungles in Africa, but like...
Why are we talking about mathematics?
Like you know, like those like places where they are so away from civilization.
You don't think they're in tune more with God than us?
They might.
I think they are.
Probably. But they probably don't like know Jesus. Like if you don't hear the word of Jesus, God's probably like, okay, you didn't hear the word. Go back, try again, or I accept you.
I think Jesus is... again, a slippery slope. I think God transcends the idea of Jesus. If Jesus is the path that you get to speak to the one true God, so be it. But I don't think that's the only path.
I don't know.
I know you don't know. I know nobody knows.
But that's where I'm going to put my faith.
Why?
It makes the most sense to me.
Have you studied them?
Jesus?
No.
Other religions?
A variety of religions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you now?
Yes. 100%. That's the one that speaks to me. And plus, finding archaeological evidence that shows against the teaching of Jesus.
Yeah, there's tons of that. What are you talking about?
I don't think so. Show me.
Okay, well, I'll pull some research.
But once again, where I'm
you can't disprove a negative, by the way.
My whole point was, you're saying fuck God because he created child cancer. God gave us free will. We created these things that were harming us. We decided they're harming some. It's like the argument of guns are going to kill a couple of people a year, but we should still have the right to have guns.
A few people got to die for us to have our Second Amendment.
Right. That's
And if I say it, I'm the bad guy?
that's the perspective that us as people have. For
A
the most
little bit
part.
of asbestos to protect us against fire. It's cheaper as long
It's
as we
more
put it between
convenient,
paint.
and then all of a sudden cancer spikes, the health of the people way lower. If we process foods this way, it's cheaper, it's more convenient.
Here's the question then, like, and we talked about this before, but like, this is the thing that gets me is why is it that it doesn't become obvious if it's God's will that says, ooh, you really shouldn't use DDT. A third in, God is watching.
I know, it's not ideal. I never claim to be perfect.
I understand, but here, just as an example.
God doesn't want me to wait to be perfect to give His message.
I understand, and now I'm not picking on you any other than you're my son, and I wish you'd get the fuck off that nasty shit. But you know better. You took yourself off it a while ago, but you found your way back to it. Now you do these packets. Kudos to them for hooking you. They've got you on an addictive product, but you know better. And like, what is it? Who gets a pass? That's my question.
Nobody gets a pass.
But apparently some people do.
Who?
The pedophiles at the top.
You think
you
they
and
get
your
a pass?
zins, me and my artificial sweetener.
You think they get a pass? I don't think they get a pass. I think that's why, for me, as much as I hate it, I don't have the same emotional reaction that you do, because you believe that they're getting a pass, and I don't. You told me in the kitchen earlier, you said assholes are catered to.
Different context. Yeah, go ahead.
But that's fair. For the most part, like, assholes do end up getting catered to.
Loud voices, yeah, sure.
It's not my job to be somebody else's justice. Now, do I want Trump out of office? Do I want us to have a better society? Do I want better leadership? Yes. It's not my job to give them justice.
Okay, let's take fair. I accept your
So for
responsibility
me,
on justice.
when you say these pedophiles at the top, they're getting a free pass, are they? I'm not getting a free pass for sinning in my head. My faith doesn't.
Yeah, but the point of religion is guilt. You can't have control without guilt. If you truly believed in Jesus, that He was going to forgive you, you would absolve yourself of all guilt and know that every decision you make is you doing your best.
God doesn't want you to feel guilty.
But you do. You just exhibited standard classic signs of guilt when you put that third one in. We had a chuckle about it. That's a guilt response.
Yeah, that's probably, I mean, I don't want to say more sinful. That's just as sinful as putting the sin in. Being guilty, feeling guilty.
Fair, but that's kind of my point, is that that's a nuanced argument of a specific religion and tenets. Like, there's an argument that just says you can't, or the whole point of organized religion is to exhibit guilt. You can't have guilt without sin, so you have to have sin in order to have guilt so that you can have control.
When you talk about the politicalization of religion, yes. But never in the Bible does it say that you should feel guilty. God doesn't want you to feel guilty. He doesn't want you to feel shame.
I want you to fact check that one.
I can definitely do that.
But there's people guilty of... we'll talk about that.
Well, I mean, look it up right now. You have a laptop. Does God want you to feel guilty?
Who the hell is going to...
In the Christian religion...
I'm not saying God wants you to feel guilty.
Right. So you're talking about organized religion. And yes, people use guilt and fear.
So here's the AI overview. No, God doesn't want believers to live in a state of overwhelming guilt. Instead, He uses feelings of guilt to prompt conviction and lead to repentance, forgiveness, and freedom. So it is a tool, according to AI, and we can double check that. But
we can if we get into the nuances of that, I can crack that.
I hear what you're saying, and I think that's a personal choice.
You're talking about the organized religion of it. people use guilt to stay in power, to feel listened to. Yes, I agree.
100%.
And that's wrong.
Absolutely. Fuck them.
You know what the most used term in the Bible is? When he said, what did AI say? Something about fear?
Yeah, he uses feelings of guilt to promote conviction and lead to repentance, forgiveness, and freedom.
Oh, no fear.
Not there, but...
But we can agree that they use guilt and fear.
Yeah, if you don't follow them, then you're going to burn in this hell.
That's scary.
That's scary. So it's a gold medal or a German shepherd. You're either going towards something or running away from something.
Do you know what the most used term in the Bible is?
What?
Do not fear. So all those people who are using fear for that...
It's very anti-Christian.
They are anti-Christian.
I agree. And that is the fundamental nature of... That's the fundamental nature of influence, is triggering fear in others.
Yeah.
What I was going to say was, I don't care about the politicians. They're going to get theirs because if there is a God, he will take care of that. It will take care of that. If there's not, they've got their own soul and reckoning to deal with. My concern is those people that they are affecting. And this is my own cross to bear, so to speak, of what I care more about.
Around.
What's that?
You're really coming around.
What I really care about is doing my best to minimize the suffering of those that I can.
That's all you should be worried about. If you have no control over somebody in DC who isn't getting a paycheck right now, empathize with them. But if you can't,
it's not just DC. There's federal governments all over the world.
I was just using one.
Fair enough.
If you're not in a position to like financially help them or give them what they need, this is you helping. If you're using a platform, do we have any type of popularity right now? No, but
a couple of clips.
This is the best you can do, right?
It's what I am doing. Can I do better? I'm going to keep going. Like I'm going to do more. I want to talk more truth to power.
What you said is my whole point. What did you say? I'm going to minimize the suffering.
I want to do my best to minimize suffering for those that I can.
That's all it is. That's all it is. That's all it is. That's all it is.
That's all it is?
What do you think?
I think that's a choice.
Right, but that's all you can do.
No, I don't think that's all I can do. I don't think it's all any one person can do.
Do you think that's a little hubris?
No, what I mean is that doesn't have to be the goal. I can go out and just do my best.
Right.
It doesn't have to involve others. Like the concentric circles, which we talked about with the others, which is if I just care about me and mine, care about me, my girlfriend, my kids, any pets we might have, and that's it. Fuck everybody else. That could be enough if I do a really good job of that. But I also have friends, and I've got extended family, and I've got their friends, and I've got multiple circles.
You know too many people. We all know too many people to only care about just me, my wife, my kids, my dog. I know way too many people. I'm not gonna go into a shift at work, and somebody's hurting for whatever reason, and just be like, sorry, I got kids at home I don't worry about you. Like, that's not realistic. I get you're saying that could be enough, and for some people that might, and that's probably an issue. I'm not saying that you have to change people's lives.
But having empathy seems to be important.
Empathy. Just a little bit of empathy.
But why? And maybe this is a topic for the next time, but why what does empathy do?
It makes
it's like
people
saying thoughts and prayers when there's a shooting. What does it do?
What else can you do for somebody? Like going above and beyond when you can. But when you can't, and it's just a coworker, or it's a distant friend, or this or that, just sit there and be with them.
There was a good line in the TV show Billions when the one politician was being asked to change his vote by the main character, and he said, when my wife died, he came up, he shook my hand, and he said, under better circumstances. And it didn't do anything, and it didn't mean anything. But there was nothing he could have done. So it was the exact right thing to do.
Exactly. It's little things like that instead of doing the opposite.
What's the opposite? What do you mean the opposite?
Demean people.
Fear. Using fear.
Either use fear or be hurtful towards people or take advantage of people.
So try not to be a dick. Be a good person.
Just do your best to, and everybody's going to have a bad day. Have I always been empathetic? No. If I'm having a bad day, somebody says something, damn, that's crazy. Move on. I don't feel good about it. But when you can, as much as you possibly can, and if you can keep it in your mind and keep it at the top of your mind, keep it very conscious, it makes it a lot easier for you to go out of your way just a little bit to help people here and there. That goes a long way. People remember the little things you do more than... I'm not going to be remembering when you die that you got me an Xbox for Christmas.
You better. It was expensive.
Yeah, it was probably really... It's even more expensive now. I'm going to be remembering you getting off a flight and then just coming to my game with your suitcase still in your hand as I'm about to throw the first pitch. That's what I'm going to remember. I'm not going to remember that you got an Xbox. But that was such a little thing. That's what I remember. People are going to remember the little things that you've done for them. That's going to motivate them to do little things for other people because they're like, fuck, that made me feel so good. That was so nice of them.
At the end of the day, what you're saying is a pretty common statement, which is people don't remember what you said or what you did. They remember how you made them feel.
Exactly.
And so empathy seems to be important because of that.
You can impact people way more than you know by doing the littlest things. The impact is in the details.
And I would imagine we probably do impact people more than we are aware.
Absolutely.
And we should do our best to expand that level of awareness so that...
Very cognizant of it.
Yeah, I agree.
And if we do that, we probably wouldn't have a pedophile in office right now. But people are so engulfed with themselves, which I get. Everybody's going to be engulfed with themselves, but that's why you need to find purpose in what you're doing. Because if you go your entire life just worried about yourself, you end up on your deathbed, even if you have family around you, like what did I do my entire life? I just worried about myself? Am I really going to be content with that? Am I going to be happy with the fact that I stepped on one person's foot so I could get the job?
Yeah.
No, probably not. I'm convinced that most people are going to end up okay. Like, they're going to end up, you might not be a millionaire, you might have to work into your 70s, but you can find so much joy in being a good person. That's all you need to do. I need to do that better, for sure.
Well, you got some time, luckily.
Yeah, but
Get to it.
That's the message that we need to convey rather than saying, we need to get Trump out of office. Do we need to get him out of office? Ideally, probably.
But what's the message? Just be more loving?
Yeah, just have empathy for the person to the left and the right of you. You make little impacts here and there. All of a sudden, you impact a person. Then they impact a person because they feel impacted. Then they impact 3 people. And then all of a sudden, we have, exponential growth?
6 degrees of separation. If everybody impacts everybody.
As of 50 minutes, I probably talked less, but at 1 minute 15, I may have talked more.
I let you go so I could tip the scales.
Fair.
All right. I think this is good. I think ending on the idea of empathy and we should all just focus on that is a really good point. So I appreciate that perspective.
Especially if the world's going to die in a couple of years, like you think.
I didn't say I think that. I just think that's my theory right now. I'm working on it. I'll keep refining it.
I don't think it's a stupid theory. Nobody can know.
Well, real quick, I think that is the point. I think if they
keep going for a couple of minutes.
Well, my point is that if they do know, then this all makes sense. The insanity of it all, the pedophilia and the secrecy and the bullshit. And if they don't, then, it's just batshit crazy.
How many times in your life, though, has something happened and you're like, I got to figure this out. Like, I got to find why this is happening because this doesn't make sense. And then you come to the conclusion of, that shit just did not make sense.
Well,
I'm not discounting your theory. I thought about it. It's very possible. But there's also a possibility of...
I don't know everything.
It might not make sense, and I don't know why it doesn't make sense until I realize, it just didn't make sense.
Well, fair, but I'm a big fan and student of human behavior. As with my magic and everything else in psychology that I've studied, that's just what I've spent a lifetime studying. And so I look at some of these things and I'm just like, it just is such a no-brainer on how to either get into it or get out of it. And the current situation, I get it. I get how we got here because fear has been leveraged, and so the idea of using empathy to get us out would be wonderful. But the people who need to have empathy are the ones who don't have it.
We don't need them. You don't need these politicians to have. Would it be nice? Yes, but clearly we don't need it because here we are, right? And you can still have a successful life.
I hope that's true. And going into the future, and your and any grandkids I might now or in the future have.
Speaking of,
Nice try.
kind of funny though.